The Spartan, Great Rhetra, attributed to the legendary lawgiver Lycurgus, represents one of the most fascinating and enigmatic pieces of early Greek political thought. Unlike the written codes of Athens or Draken, the Spartan constitution was primarily oral and carried the weight of custom, ritual, and religious authority, blending law, moral code, and social organization into a holistic system that shaped Sparta's unique identity. To understand the Great Rhetra is to enter a world where governance, religion, and the demands of a militarized society converge, producing a framework that resisted change for centuries and still captivates historians today. Lycurgus, whose historicity is debated, is traditionally credited with codifying the Spartan system sometime in the 8th or 7th century BCE. According to sources like Plutarch and Xenophon, Lycurgus traveled widely, absorbing practices from Crete, the Near East, and other Greek city-states before returning to Sparta to institute reforms. The Great Rhetra itself is often described as a divine oracle received from the Delphic sanctuary, giving it an aura of sacred authority and ensuring compliance through religious legitimacy. This blend of human innovation and divine sanction created a law that was not merely prescriptive but almost ritualistic, entwining civic obedience with moral duty. At the heart of the Great Rhetra lies a dual system of governance. Sparta was neither a simple monarchy nor a democracy, it was a mixed polity balancing the powers of two kings, the Gerousia, a council of elders, the Ephors, magistrates, and the Apella, assembly of citizens. The kingship provided continuity and military leadership, particularly in campaigns where hereditary authority symbolized divine favor. Yet, power was far from absolute. The Gerousia, composed of men over 60, held significant sway, particularly in judicial matters and legislation. Their role ensured that the wisdom of age tempered the impulses of kings and citizens alike. Meanwhile, the Ephors, elected annually, acted as a counterbalance, monitoring both kings and citizens, capable of initiating legal action even against monarchs, a remarkable check in an otherwise hierarchical society. The Apella, in contrast, offered the Spartan citizens a voice, albeit a constrained one. While the assembly could vote on proposals, it could not directly debate or amend them, discussion was channeled through the Gerousia. This design preserved the appearance of popular involvement while maintaining elite control, a reflection of Sparta's broader philosophy of stability over individual liberty. The Rhetra emphasized collective consensus and the subordination of personal desire to civic duty, mirroring the militarized ethos that underpinned Spartan life. Citizens were trained from youth in the agoge, a state-directed education and discipline system that enforced obedience, courage, and endurance. Here, law, education, and social ritual fused to create not only loyal soldiers but also cohesive, obedient citizens. Economically and socially, the Great Rhetra shaped Sparta in ways as profound as its political structure. Lycurgus famously redistributed land to reduce economic inequality, dividing estates into equal plots, kleroi, and introducing a system in which Spartan citizens shared communal meals, syssitia. Money was deliberately devalued, with the use of cumbersome iron bars replacing gold and silver to discourage luxury and trade. Helots, conquered populations tied to the land, supplied the agricultural labor that freed Spartan citizens for military and civic duties. In this system, wealth and leisure were tightly controlled, and social cohesion was maintained through both legal and practical measures. The Great Rhetra thus extended beyond mere law, it was a blueprint for an entire way of life. Justice in Sparta, under the Great Rhetra, was equally entwined with societal values. Legal norms were less about codified penalties and more about maintaining communal stability. Severe crimes, particularly those threatening the social order or military readiness, were punished harshly, often with death or exile. Yet many laws relied on custom and peer enforcement, reflecting a society where moral and civic education was continuous and pervasive. Lycurgus reforms were less concerned with abstract rights than with the practical endurance of the Spartan state. The intertwining of law, ritual, and social discipline created a resilient, if rigid, structure that could survive internal and external pressures for centuries. The spiritual and symbolic dimensions of the Great Rhetra were crucial to its endurance. By presenting the constitution as a divine mandate, Lycurgus ensured that resistance was not merely political defiance but also religious transgression. The oracular origin, combined with ritual observances such as oaths and public ceremonies, created an atmosphere where civic obedience was moral and sacred. The Rhetra thus functioned as much as a moral code and social contract as a legal system. It taught Spartans that law was inseparable from virtue, courage, and loyalty, values internalized through lifelong training and collective experience. Yet, the rigidity of the Lycurgan system was both its strength and its weakness. While it preserved social stability and military dominance for centuries, it stifled innovation and adaptability. Sparta's decline in the classical period, particularly after defeats by Thebes and during the Peloponnesian Wars, demonstrated that a system optimized for internal cohesion and military efficiency struggled to respond to broader political and economic challenges. Nevertheless, the Great Rhetra remains a profound example of how law can be embedded in culture, ritual, and moral education, creating a society where governance, ethics, and daily life are inseparable. Modern historians debate the historicity of Lycurgus and the precise content of the Great Rhetra. Some view it as a retrospective idealization, a mythic lens through which later Spartans understood their past. Others argue that whether or not Lycurgus was a historical figure, the Rhetra reflects authentic practices and principles that shaped Spartan institutions. Archaeological evidence, literary sources, and comparative studies of other Greek city-states provide partial corroboration but cannot fully reconstruct the original laws. What remains indisputable is the Rhetra's profound influence on ideas of mixed government, social engineering, and the integration of law with moral and civic education. In conclusion, the laws of Lycurgus, embodied in the Great Rhetra, offer a unique window into the Spartan worldview. They demonstrate a society in which law was inseparable from ethics, ritual, and education, and where civic stability was paramount. From dual kingship to the Council of Elders, from communal meals to militarized youth training, the Rhetra orchestrated every dimension of Spartan life. Its blend of religious sanction, legal innovation, and social engineering created a system that endured for centuries, influencing both contemporaneous observers and modern scholarship. While it imposed rigidity and suppressed individual freedom, the Great Rhetra represents one of history's most coherent and disciplined attempts to fuse law, society, and morality into a singular, functioning polity.